but they said that you were totally messing it up, something like that. You went to school and kids got away with stuff, and other kids, they made one little mistake and everybody dumped on them. Injustice. And this injustice was also seemingly relentless. It went on and on and on. And eventually it got to you. There was some moment in time, which was the first time it got to you. And then when it got to you, somehow, you then began to be tormented from within by that. And then you became sensitive. As you were gotten to by the tease, the challenges, the pressures, the injustices, it got to you. And people tried to make you doubt yourself. You saw what you saw, but they wouldn't let you see what you saw. They made it like you were wrong for seeing what you saw. So these things eventually got to you, and then you began to doubt yourself. And you began to be tormented. And then it got inside. As it got inside, then other torments started from within. Things talked to you in your head. They told you that you were no good. They told you that if you didn't do something, that something terrible would happen. You know, like some kind of an obsession type of thing, where they said if you didn't tap your hand on the desk 8 times and turn around 3 times, then something terrible would happen. So you tapped the desk and turned around. But you see, it was tormenting, and then it too became relentless. It kept tormenting you. And then there were always negative thoughts. Like if your dad was a little bit late from work, then some terrible thought come to something awful had happened to your dad. Or if your mom coughed, then all of a sudden there was a thought that your mom was in really bad shape. And the thoughts also said that you were at fault because you had upset her. She's now getting sick. And things like that. Negative thoughts, doubts, torments. Now, so there you have. So then after that, the rest of your life is what? Trying to push those down? Trying to pretend they're not there? Trying to keep yourself so busy that you don't have time for them to get to you? Trying to do something to make them go away. And so there was the endless torment. And the torment continued from the outside too, didn't it? So when you got older, you were rejected maybe by the peer group. And then you got older still, and then thoughts told you that you were never going to be popular or accepted or anything. So it just goes on and on. So what's that all about? Well, once we're gotten to the world, that becomes our environment. And not only does that become your environment, in other words, the tease becomes your environment. The challenges become your environment. The torment becomes your environment on the outside and on the inside. And then you're subject to it. When it's your environment, then just the way the deer is subject to the forest, you're subject to that environment. So now you're subject to it on the outside and on the inside. And that is torment. So there was a life that was pristine and innocent and happy, and somehow temptation got to you, and then you became subject to it, and then everything you did then was driven by it, trying to satisfy it, trying to get rid of it, trying to mollify it, trying to pretend it's not there. See? So what is all that about? Well, it's some kind of a cruel torment, isn't it? Doesn't matter which culture you come from, what part of the world, it's there, on the outside and on the inside. But I started off by saying that the inside ends up being the worst. It started on the outside. That's how it got to you. But then the inside is the worst. So you can have somebody that, in the eyes of the world, everything's fine. And they're successful, and they have money, and they have a nice place, maybe even a nice family, a good job. Everything is good on the outside, but they're tormented from within. So this torment is something from the dark side. And it is through this torment or tease or challenges. See, if somebody keeps challenging you, you're not making enough money. You're not making enough sales. You're not making enough calls. You're not something or other. See? You're not being nice enough to the poor. You're not giving enough money. See? It's just more tease, more challenge, more torment from the outside and then from the inside. Then eventually it's like it gets you both ways, from the outside and the inside. So how do you return to this innocent? So it's like Adam and Eve. In the Garden of Eden, they had a perfect existence. And then the temptation got to them. Then after that, it was a jungle hell. And they became subject to death, subject to the exigencies of the external environment. They had to work by the sweat of their brow. They could get sick. They could die. And they were subject to this, which had originally got to them, with a tease, with a challenge, with a doubt, with a promise. See? So it's always the same. So it happened to you when you were a little kid. And for that reason, so here's something that's nice to know. It wasn't your fault. You inherited this fallen existence where you were already you were born subject to wrong authorities who didn't protect you properly, who themselves were subject to the tease and torments and challenges. Your mom was subject to things that tormented her. Your dad was subject to things that tormented him. They couldn't help you because they too were subject to it. So everyone is subject to it. And that's the environment that you were born into. And so all they knew was tease and challenge and torments and pressures. They thought they were pressuring you for your own good, but it was just pressure everywhere. And so you were naturally vulnerable to it. You were born subject to it, and subject to wrong parents who didn't protect you. And so it was inevitable that it would get to you. And it did. It got to you. All right, so that's what happens to everybody. So the answer is to re-find what you had before you fell.